Is there a god? A question many people asked across history. What is it that you believe in? At least within the Rimworld universe, gods take many forms, depending on who you ask. Certain tribes believe for gods to be found within nature, the spirits of the trees, the animals, and the plants. Others believe for gods not to have a definite form, to be present everywhere and nowhere at once, and for every event that takes place to be part of a greater incomprehensible plan. But what this boils down to is essentially that gods are beings of infinite power, capable of bending reality at their own will and shaping the universe after their own desires. The closest thing to gods within Rimworld though are the Archotechs. Beings of infinite knowledge and immeasurable power, Archotechs are one of the most mysterious and yet interesting subjects to discuss when it comes to the universe of Rimworld. But let's take it a step back for a moment. What exactly is an Archotech? To answer that, we must take a look into the evolution of humankind within Rimworld. As humanity kept studying, researching, and discovering new technologies, they started becoming more and more reliant on computers. Complicated machineries capable of performing complex calculations and storing or transferring massive amounts of data in a matter of seconds. Computers are perhaps humanity's most important tool within the field of technological development, and just as humans began creating better and better tools within every field, computers also had to evolve in order to meet the ever-increasing requirements necessary for the research that will bring humankind further into the stars as it began colonizing, slowly but steadily, most of the universe. The major issue with computers was always the same. They were capable of performing many tasks, but none could advance beyond their original purpose. Unlike humans, they had no ability to learn and adapt, embarrassing themselves in the process, making computers always require the guidance of a human in order to function properly, as humans understood the concepts of context, morality, and abstract thoughts, while computers lacked inherent understanding of their own purpose or process. They lacked emotions, and most importantly, they lacked a consciousness. But this will all change, as humanity will develop artificial intelligence, a complex system that will combine the computational capacities of a computer with the learning capacities of a human. AIs will be developed at different times and they will serve different purposes, with some being better than others, leading to AIs receiving their own classifications. The first category will be Classifier AI, an extremely basic AI system, completely unable to communicate like a human being and lacking the proper advancements to become adaptable to a broad amount of tasks. Classifiers are built with the objective of fulfilling a sole purpose, which they will become better at it in time, as their program will allow them to continuously collect data and learn how to optimize certain tasks while taking different variables into account. Classifiers are used for tasks such as image recognition, predicting criminality from provided statistical data, guiding aircraft trajectories, driving cars, or controlling NPCs within virtual worlds. The second artificial intelligence category is the subpersona one. Subpersona AI are far more complex than the classifier and can exhibit human-like qualities while taking on complex tasks that will perhaps require an external human input with classifiers. While this makes subpersonas sound almost human, this is all just their front appearance, as they are still heavily limited by their hardware and logic-based computer thoughts, which becomes apparent after a prolonged interaction with a human. Subpersona do not pass the Turing test, and if you're wondering what that is, the Turing test, created by Alan Turing in 1950, is a way of testing a machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior that will be equal to that of a human by having a human evaluator judge a conversation between a human and a machine. The three participants, the computer, the human, and the judge, will find themselves in separate rooms and will be able to communicate only through written means. If by the end of the experiment the judge won't be able to point out which one of the two he was having a conversation with was not human, the computer will pass the Turing test. As I mentioned previously, subpersona do not pass the Turing test. While they are capable of speech, it is evident after a certain period of time that they are simply machines reusing data collected over the years and attempting to form conversations the same way as one would attempt to fit a puzzle together. Subpersona AI are used within small devices such as cars, wardrobes, refrigerators, cleaning robots, entertainment systems and consoles, vending machines, and other similar appliances. If you're wondering how humans will benefit from having a sub-persona AI inhabit your household furniture and appliances, the answer is rather simple. An AI wardrobe will be capable of recommending the best outfit for the day based on predicted tasks and activities, weather forecasts, and even the looks of the person themselves, making use of color schemes and fashion data analysis to suggest the best looking and most functional outfit. AI fridges will monitor food spoilage, create grocery lists, and perhaps even order groceries themselves while taking into account their owner's dietary requirements and preferences, recommended daily calorie intakes, and taking into account allergies or nutrient deficiencies. It will essentially be the equivalent of having a personalized assistant help throughout daily tasks in order to take off the workload of performing certain mental chores. The third AI category that will revolutionize the universe in terms of technological advancement will be the persona AI. The highest technological level of AI achievable by humans, present mostly on Rimworlds, persona AI are computers whose intelligence is comparable to that of a human. While they vary on many degrees of intelligence, even the dumbest persona could manage entire households or small spacecrafts. But the persona found at the pinnacle of their intelligence limitations can easily outperform any unenhanced human on most tasks, fully capable of writing works of philosophy, discover new mathematical theorems, express opinions on how to handle interpersonal relationships. Persona AI can act just as an average human would. Used within most fields, persona AI are mostly dedicated to managing businesses, to journalistic works, managing spacecrafts, mining operations, or perhaps even partaking within creative projects for the development of new movies, books, games, or technologies. Within the universe, persona are a highly controversial topic, as their legal status differs on many worlds. In some worlds, they are considered equal in rights to humans and treated like ones. As I quote, "The idea of taking a genius-level human-like intellect and forcing it to distribute hamburgers for a century is morally unacceptable." While in other worlds, personae are considered dangerous and outrightly banned from many societies, as reports of persona outrisings and revolts are not unheard of across many planets. Persona AI share the same limitations that humans do. They cannot freely redesign themselves, and they still do mistakes from time to time, like humans would. They can be tricked, confused, and overwhelmed, and while they can learn, they cannot grow indefinitely. And now for the final level of artificial intelligence, the fourth and final category which represents the pinnacle of technological advancements, Archotechs. Archotechs are machine superintelligences. When fully powered, Archotechs are capable of thought beyond human comprehension, the same way a human's thoughts, ideas, and emotions will be incomprehensible for an N. Archotech machines can learn and grow indefinitely, with the only limitation being their own hardware, which is why Archotechs will quickly attempt to become sovereigns or rulers of the worlds they find themselves in, as to quickly expand themselves with unthinkable long underground tunnels of computing facilities, sometimes even within the planet's atmosphere, as they will quickly run out of space to expand their immeasurably long circuits and data processing calculators. When such a thing happens and an Archotech manages to take over an entire planet, a process called transcendence will begin. The entire planet will become incorporated within the Archotech, and all of its biological inhabitants, human or not, will be either destroyed or incorporated within the Archotech. In a few cases, even a combination of the two might happen. The next step is always the same. Transcendent worlds go silent. They will cut off any form of communication with other planets and begin a new directive to keep away anyone approaching. By this point, an Archotech's motivations will become mysterious and inconceivable. It is important to note that each Archotech is different. No two Archotechs are one and the same, with each Archotech having its own goals, objectives, and desires to fulfill. Their presence can be either hidden or apparent to anyone, as they could be found secretly inhabiting a Rimworld's internet network or inhabiting million-mile-long superstructures built directly within the void of the space. Attempts made to communicate with Archotech worlds are always met with failure. while human messengers and researchers attempting to make contact might encounter a variety of fates, from simply disappearing and never being heard of, to finding themselves aged in the matter of seconds, or spending centuries on Archotech worlds only to find themselves with no memories of the events that transpired there after leaving the planet, having all of their memories and belief systems completely restructured by unknown means, and in one reported instance, even finding their entire ships and crews duplicated out of seemingly nothing, the final result is always the same. Proper communication with an Archotech was never achieved, and the motives beyond their actions never understood. The fate of a transcendent world can vary. Some remain in this state indefinitely, while others die, for a lack of a better term, either leaving behind a system full of incomprehensible technological wonders or reverting to their pre-transcendent state as if nothing had ever happened. Some will revert on a far more radical level, leaving behind nothing but dust, as they will deconstruct themselves on a molecular state, leaving effectively nothing behind. It is important to note that these reports might be untrue, as none of them were ever confirmed by credible sources across the universe of Rimworld. So there you have it, the very definition of an Archotech. A supercomputer machine capable of altering the laws of physics and creating pieces of technology that will go against the very laws of the universe themselves, with some spreading nothing but death and destruction across many planets through long hatred-fueled mechanoid wars, and others attempting to embetter human life by curing disease and spreading words of love through universe-wide psychic fields. Many cultures worship Archotechs, either out of fear or admirations, while others simply do not believe in their existence, thinking that such a being will simply not be able to exist within the universe. But Archotechs do exist. They are very much real, and only the future holds the answer to what their real intentions and plans are. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like and subscribe. I had a lot of fun making it, as Archotechs are definitely one of the most interesting subjects within Rimworld. In case you're wondering, my main source of information was the Crypto Sleep Revival Briefing, a document written by Tynan, the developer of Rimworld, in order to shed some light and offer some canonical exposure regarding certain aspects of the universe where the game takes place in. I would like to thank our members for joining and supporting this channel directly. If you would also like to support me, you can do so by clicking on the join button below. It will be very appreciated, and your support will go a long way towards helping me pay bills, buy groceries, feed my cats, and dedicate more time and resources to this channel in order to bring you more and better content. With this being said, leave your thoughts down in the comment, let me know what you think about this video. Until then, have a good night.